Have you ever looked up at the night sky and felt not wonder, but a deep, unsettling void? A cold certainty that something fundamental, the stars, the moon, was simply gone? This is not science fiction. It is historical fact. There is a night, buried in ancient records, when the moon vanished from the heavens. Not during an eclipse, not behind a cloud. It was erased, plunging the world into a primal, moonless terror. What force, natural or otherwise, could extinguish our celestial anchor? We are about to reconstruct that single, terrifying night when the sky went blank. But before we step into that darkness, if you crave journeys into the unexplained, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. Your support is what fuels these deep dives into history's greatest mysteries. Now let's set the scene. The year is 1110. We're in England, a land steeped in superstition, where the rhythms of nature were deeply intertwined with daily life and divine will. People relied on the moon for everything, for light in the darkness, for tracking the seasons, for planting crops, and for predicting tides. Its steady presence was a constant, a celestial anchor in a turbulent world. Imagine their sheer terror, then, on the 5th night of May, when the moon, which should have been shining brightly, disappeared completely. One of the most vivid accounts of this event comes from a document known as the Peterborough Chronicle, a detailed history written by Anglo-Saxon monks. The entry for the year 1110 describes the night with an almost palpable sense of dread. The chronicler wrote, "On the 5th night in the month of May, the moon appeared shining bright in the evening. And afterwards, by little and little, its light waned, so that, as soon as night came, it was so completely extinguished withal that neither light, nor orb, nor anything at all of it was seen." Think about that for a moment. Not just dimmed, not just obscured by clouds, but completely extinguished. The chronicle continues, stating that it so continued nearly until the day, and then appeared shining full and bright. The people were terrified. This wasn't a normal lunar eclipse. During a typical total lunar eclipse, the moon doesn't just vanish. It turns a deep reddish color, often called a blood moon. This happens because some sunlight still filters through Earth's atmosphere and bends towards the moon, illuminating it with a crimson glow. But the monks of Peterborough were clear. There was no red glow, no faint outline. There was just nothing. An empty patch of sky where the moon should have been. The chronicle explicitly states that the sky was very clear and the stars over all the heaven was shining very brightly. So we can rule out cloud cover. This wasn't a case of a stormy night obscuring the view. The stars were out, but the moon was gone. For the people of the 12th century, this was an apocalyptic omen. They scrambled for explanations. Was it a sign of God's wrath? A foretelling of a king's death or a disastrous war? In a world without modern astronomy, the inexplicable was often interpreted as the divine or the demonic. Panic would have spread like wildfire. People would have gathered in churches, praying for the return of the light, fearing that the world itself was coming to an end. For hours, they sat in a profound darkness, a darkness deeper than any they had known, punctuated only by the distant twinkle of stars. The psychological impact must have been immense. The very order of the cosmos seemed to have been broken. So what happened? For centuries, this account remained a baffling puzzle, a lunar eclipse that wasn't an eclipse, a disappearance that defied explanation. Historians and astronomers debated the entry in the Peterborough Chronicle. Some suggested the monks might have exaggerated, prone to embellishing events for dramatic or religious effect. Perhaps their memory was faulty, or they were simply describing a very dark eclipse in poetic terms. But the account is so specific, so adamant about the complete and total darkness, that it begs for a scientific explanation. Could there be a natural phenomenon that could create such an event? The breakthrough came not from studying the stars, but from looking deep within our own planet. Scientists began to explore a link between major volcanic eruptions and atmospheric conditions. A massive eruption can inject enormous quantities of sulfurous gas and ash into the stratosphere, the upper layer of our atmosphere. These particles form a veil of aerosols, a thin, invisible haze that can spread around the globe. This stratospheric veil is incredibly effective at blocking and scattering sunlight. Could a volcano be our culprit? Researchers turn to another source of historical data: ice cores. Drilled from the ancient ice sheets of Greenland and Antarctica, these cores are like frozen time capsules. Each layer of ice corresponds to a year, trapping bubbles of air, dust, and volcanic particles from that time. By analyzing the chemical composition of these layers, Scientists can create a timeline of major volcanic eruptions going back thousands of years. And when they looked at the layers corresponding to the early 12th century, they found something extraordinary. In ice cores from both Greenland and Antarctica, there was a massive spike in sulfate deposits dated between 1108 and 1110. This was evidence of a colossal, previously unknown volcanic eruption somewhere on Earth. The sheer amount of sulfate suggested an eruption far larger than most in recorded history, powerful enough to inject a dense cloud of aerosols high into the stratosphere, where it would linger for years. The location of this mystery volcano is still debated. Some evidence points to Mount Asama in Japan, which had a major eruption in 1108. The eruption was described in a Japanese statesman's diary as turning the sky red and covering the land in ash, making crops impossible to grow. This timing fits perfectly. Here's how it all connects. This massive veil of volcanic aerosols in the stratosphere acted like a global lampshade. During the day, it would have made sunsets and sunrises appear unusually vibrant and red. But its most dramatic effect would have been during a total lunar eclipse. As we mentioned, a normal blood moon is red because sunlight passes through Earth's atmosphere. But in 1110, the atmosphere was choked with volcanic particles. This aerosol layer was so thick that it blocked almost all of the sunlight from passing through. No sunlight could reach the moon. So instead of turning red, the moon, sitting in Earth's shadow, received no light at all. It was plunged into complete darkness, becoming invisible against the blackness of space. The monks of Peterborough weren't exaggerating. They were providing a precise eyewitness account of a rare and spectacular astronomical event made possible by a geological cataclysm happening thousands of miles away. The very clear sky they described was exactly what you'd expect. The volcanic haze was in the stratosphere, far above the weather-producing clouds of the troposphere. So from the ground, the night would have seemed perfectly clear, with sharp, brilliant stars, making the moon's absence even more baffling and terrifying. The stars shone brightly because their light comes directly to us, while the moon's light is reflected sunlight, which had to pass through the dense aerosol filter twice, once on its way to the moon and again on its way back to Earth. Essentially, the volcano switched off the moon. This incredible convergence of geology and astronomy solved a 900-year-old mystery. The event recorded in the Peterborough Chronicle wasn't a supernatural omen or a moment of divine anger. It was a dark lunar eclipse, a direct consequence of a massive volcanic eruption. The night the moon forgot to exist, as we've called it, has a name. Astronomers now refer to this specific kind of event as a Denkmond eclipse, from the German words for dark moon. It's a powerful reminder of how interconnected our planet is. An eruption in Japan could cause widespread panic in England by literally erasing the moon from the sky. It shows us that even events that seem magical or terrifying often have a rational, scientific explanation waiting to be discovered. The universe is full of wonders, and sometimes the most incredible stories are not myths, but forgotten chapters of our own planet's history. What other mysteries are hidden in ancient texts? Just waiting for the right scientific key to unlock them. Thank you for joining me on this journey back in time. It is amazing to think how a volcanic eruption on one side of the world could create such a spectacular and frightening celestial event on the other. If you enjoyed unraveling this historical enigma, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the unexplained. Let me know in the comments what other mysteries you'd like us to explore. Until next time, keep looking up